You've flown before, maybe dozens of times. But did you know that something as small as pulling the wrong handle on a plane can delay the entire flight? Or worse, slow down an emergency evacuation? One tiny mistake, and suddenly hundreds of people are stuck waiting or fighting for seconds when seconds matter most. Picture this. You're late, sprinting through TSA at JFK. Then a tiny slip-up stalls you for 20 minutes. Frustrating on the ground, but in the air, mistakes like that can mean chaos. That's why this video matters. By spotting details most passengers overlook, like a hidden button on your armrest, a latch under your tray table, or even a tiny marker on the overhead bin, you'll fly smarter, save time, and stay safer. Knowing these secrets doesn't just make your trip smoother. In the rarest moment, it could even make you the one who keeps everyone calm. And here's the twist. Even travelers who fly every week miss a small detail on board that could save lives in an instant. So keep score as we go. Spot 5, and you're the travel pro your friends will thank when turbulence hits. Less than 3? No worries, you've got a brand new party trick. Share your score and tag your travel buddy in the comments. And if you manage all 18, you're officially a flight legend. Buckle up. The first passenger we're about to meet isn't even human, but it might be the one protecting you. Remember that mysterious passenger I teased in the intro? Not a nervous tourist, not the guy hammering away on his laptop. It's someone you'd never expect, blending in so well you might have already sat next to one without knowing. Only now, let's pull back the curtain. They're air marshals. Surprise fact, air marshals aren't on every flight. With tens of thousands of departures across the US every day, and only a few thousand marshals, the odds of sharing a cabin with one are under 1%. They usually show up on flights flagged as higher risk, not your quick hop from Dallas to Orlando. When they are on board, invisibility is the job. They'll sit aisle, often near the back. No headphones, no drinks, no naps, just watching. Keep an eye out if you're curious, but do it casually. You don't want to look like you're auditioning for a spy movie. And yes, they've stepped in for real. In 2005, on a flight in Miami, Marshals shot and killed a passenger who claimed he had a bomb while running off the plane. It later turned out he didn't. But in that split second, they acted to stop what they believed was a deadly threat. It's a reminder of the pressure that comes with the job. So your best move? Relax, enjoy the flight, and take comfort knowing that if things ever went sideways, that quiet stranger in row 22 might be the reason everyone gets home safe. And hey, don't forget to mark down a point if this one was new to you. The next reveal is even closer, hanging right above your seat. Scored your point with the air marshal? Good. Now let's move even closer, right above your head. Do you really know how those yellow oxygen masks actually work? Every safety demo tells you, pull the mask down, place it over your nose and mouth, breathe normally. Sounds simple, right? But what most people never realize is this. Those masks aren't connected to a giant oxygen tank in the ceiling. What you're breathing comes from something called a chemical oxygen generator, nicknamed an oxygen candle. It's a live chemical reaction sitting just inches from your seat. When you yank that mask, you ignite the system. The canister above your head heats up, chemicals react, and within seconds, oxygen starts flowing through the tube. It's chemistry at 35,000 feet. And it's the reason you can keep breathing when the cabin pressure drops. Most travelers are shocked to learn the supply doesn't last long, about 12 to 15 minutes at best. But that's all the time the pilots need to dive the plane fast as lightning, down to below 10,000 feet, where you can breathe on your own again. So what should you do? Don't hesitate. Don't try to be the hero for your seatmate first. When the masks drop, pull yours down hard, strap it on, and breathe. Then help others. A delay of just a few seconds can leave you dizzy or knocked out before you even get it on. It's a little dramatic to picture, but knowing the truth should actually calm you. That flimsy yellow mask is backed by chemistry strong enough to save your life. Add another point if this surprised you, because next we're heading under the plane, where the tires face forces that would shred any car wheel. You've seen it 100 times. That jolt when the plane slams down on the runway, followed by the screech of rubber on asphalt. Ever wonder how those tires don't just burst into flames? After all, we're talking about a machine weighing over 200 tons, hitting the ground at more than 160 miles per hour. The secret is in the design. Aircraft tires aren't like the ones on your car. They're built to take an insane amount of stress in a very short burst. Each tire is inflated to a pressure about 6 times higher than a typical car tire. And instead of being filled with regular air, they're pumped full of nitrogen. Why? Because nitrogen doesn't expand or ignite the way oxygen does, making blowouts far less likely when the tire heats up on landing. There's more. Planes don't rely on just a couple of giant wheels. Most commercial jets spread the load across multiple smaller tires, which makes the landing more stable and reduces the chance of any single tire giving out. A Boeing 777, for example, uses 14 wheels. The monster Antonov AN-225, 32. What most people never guess is that one aircraft tire can handle around 300 to 400 landings before it's replaced. That's often more than the tires on your own car. Next time you land and feel that bone-rattling bump, don't let it spook you. The noise and the shake aren't a sign of danger. They're proof the landing gear is doing its job. Want a quick trick? As you board or exit, glance out the window near the wing and look at the tires. You'll see the thick tread and heavy scuffs from hundreds of touchdowns, and you'll know just how tough they really are. And if you caught this one, go ahead and mark it on your scorecard. We're about to move from the wheels under the plane to markings painted right on its body, clues that quietly reveal its age and history. Scored your point with the landing gear? Nice. Now, look up at the tail. Those letters and numbers painted there aren't random. They're the airplane's license plate. In the US, tail numbers always start with N. Canada uses C, the UK uses G. Every country has its own code. After that prefix comes a mix of numbers and letters chosen by the airline. Sometimes it's initials like UA for United. On private planes, owners even pick birthdays or personal codes. One famous example? The Boeing 747 with tail number N905NA, better known as NASA's shuttle carrier aircraft, the one that ferried space shuttles on its back. Curious about your own flight? Punch that code into a public database and you'll see the plane's age, which airlines it's flown for, and even details like seating layout. Makes you wonder, do you actually want to know how old the jet you're sitting on really is? And here's the kicker. Newer doesn't always mean safer. A well-maintained Boeing 747 that's been flying for decades can be more reliable than a 3-year-old jet with poor upkeep. In aviation, maintenance beats age every time. Some of those senior citizens of the skies are still flying passengers across the world every single day. Next time you head down the jet bridge, glance at the tail and see what story the code is telling. Drop a comment if you've ever spotted one with an interesting backstory. And keep your score going. We're about to open the black box, the one device that guards every secret in the sky. You've seen it in movies or on the news. A plane goes missing, and suddenly everyone is talking about the black box. But funny enough, it isn't black at all. These recorders are painted bright orange so investigators can actually spot them in wreckage. There are 2 devices, not one. The flight data recorder captures the technical side. Altitude, speed, engine performance, even how often the seatbelt sign was switched on. The Cockpit voice recorder does exactly what it sounds like. It records conversations, alarms, and every sound in the cockpit. Together, they're the ultimate time capsule of what happened on board. And these things are nearly indestructible. A black box can survive a crash at over 300 miles an hour, withstand fire at 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit, and still send out locator pings from 20,000 feet underwater. Each ping lasts about 30 days, giving search teams a fighting chance to recover it. A fact that often surprises people. The recorders aren't kept in the cockpit at all. They're placed in the tail because that part of the aircraft usually takes the least damage. This small design choice greatly improves the odds of recovering the data intact. As a passenger, here's the takeaway. Knowing the black box is there should reassure you. Every piece of data it gathers helps make future flights safer. And if, by some miracle, you ever find yourself holding one, don't even dream of opening it. Only the manufacturer can read what's inside. Here's a lighter way to think about it. On your next flight, picture the black box sitting quietly in the tail, like a silent hero guarding you from behind. If you caught this one, Go ahead and add it to your tally. And now, let's step outside, because sitting on the wing are tiny hooks you've probably never noticed, but in a water landing, they could guide you to safety. We've talked about devices hidden in the tail, but now let's shift to something small you might walk right past. Tiny hooks bolted on the wing. At first glance, they look random, like spare parts the engineers forgot to remove. But in an emergency water landing, those hooks could save lives. Here's how they work. On some planes, passengers evacuate through exits located over the wings. Now imagine stepping out onto a wet, slippery surface with dozens of people behind you. Not exactly safe. To fix that, designers built in yellow steel hooks along the wing. Crew members attach ropes to them, creating makeshift handrails so people can hold on while they move toward the slides or rafts. Hardly anyone notices these hooks. They blend into the paint, small enough that you wouldn't give them a second glance while boarding. But in the rare moment they're needed, they become the difference between chaos and an orderly escape. Consider this another hidden detail uncovered. And just ahead, we'll shift focus to the engines, where a painted spiral on the nose cone serves as a warning sign, powerful enough to protect lives on the ground. Look closely at the front of a jet engine, and you might notice a white spiral painted on the spinning cone. To most passengers, it looks decorative, maybe even a branding touch. In reality, that swirl could save lives, though not in the way you'd think. The spiral isn't for pilots or for you in the cabin. It's for the ground crews working just feet away from those massive turbines. When an engine is running, the blades spin so fast they blur into invisibility. The swirl turns into a flashing circle, a clear visual signal screaming, "Stay back." One step too close and the suction force could pull a person in instantly. Some sources also suggest another possible benefit: birds. The moving spiral pattern may create a visual effect that startles them, lowering the chance of a bird strike during taxi or takeoff. It's not scientifically proven, but it's believed to add one more layer of safety. And really, who would expect a simple painted swirl to play a role in that? Passengers often overlook it completely, but once you know, you'll never see an engine the same way again. It's a small detail doing double duty, protecting ground crews and maybe even nudging wildlife away from danger. If this one surprised you, give yourself another point. Next, we're heading back inside the cabin to a sign you've seen light up on every flight, the seatbelt signal. But it isn't always about turbulence. That little light above your head, the seatbelt sign, seems straightforward, right? It clicks on when turbulence hits and off when it's safe to move around. But that's not the whole story. Pilots sometimes flip it on for reasons that have nothing to do with bumps in the air. One use is pure strategy. As the plane begins its final descent, crews need everyone seated so they can secure the cabin quickly. Rather than making multiple announcements, the sign quietly does the job. Passengers see it, buckle up, and stay put. It can also be a tool for order. If a pilot spots too many people moving around when the service carts are out or when the cabin gets busy, that little light can come on just to keep the aisle clear. No turbulence required. So what's your move? Don't roll your eyes the next time the sign flicks on, even though the ride feels smooth. Take it as a cue that something's happening behind the scenes, whether it's descent prep or the crew needing a clear path. Buckle in, stay patient, and know the system isn't just about safety in the sky. It's also about keeping the cabin running smoothly. Check off another point if you've never thought about it this way. Because coming up, we're switching from signals inside the cabin to surveillance you may not realize is watching. Hidden cameras. The seatbelt sign is obvious, but here's something far less noticeable. Some modern aircraft are fitted with discrete cameras in the cabin. They aren't aimed at personal space. They're installed purely as a safety measure. On jets like the Airbus A350 and Boeing 787, these cameras are often positioned near galleys or entry doors. Their job is to give the crew an extra view of the cabin so they can react quickly if something unusual happens, whether it's an unruly traveler or smoke showing up where it shouldn't. Most people never spot them. The system isn't linked to seatback screens or used to record what you're doing. It simply provides live monitoring that helps the crew keep things under control before issues escalate. Think of them less as hidden eyes and more as quiet guardians. Technology built to support safety rather than invade privacy. Spotting this detail for the first time earns you another point in the game. Next, let's step outside the fuselage. Ever wondered if airplanes have horns like cars? They do, and the sound is nothing like what you'd imagine. You might be wondering, does that mean airplanes honk like this? Not quite, but yes, they do have horns. And here's the part most travelers don't expect. The horn isn't for shouting at another pilot midair or scaring birds off the runway. It's a tool used strictly on the ground. Who would guess a 200-ton jet would even need a horn at all? The button for it sits in the cockpit, and the sound itself is nothing dramatic, usually a sharp electronic beep or buzzer, short and piercing. It's closer to the alarm on a service vehicle than the honk of a car or some sci-fi blast. Pilots or mechanics use it while the plane is parked to grab the attention of ground crews, especially in the noisy chaos of an airport ramp. Worth noting, not every commercial aircraft even has one. Where it is installed, it's mainly for maintenance checks or quick communication with engineers outside the plane. For someone hearing it the first time, it can be a surprise. Nobody expects a jetliner to beep like a piece of ground equipment. But that little sound has a purpose, making sure the crew inside and the team outside stay in sync. So if you ever catch a strange beep near the gate, don't worry. The aircraft isn't complaining. It's just the crew saying, "Hey, over here." If this was new to you, chalk up another point in the game. Up next, we'll step back inside the cabin to uncover a hidden grip built right into the overhead bins. Ever found yourself wobbling down the aisle when the plane hits a bump? Instinct tells you to grab the nearest seat back, but that's not what they were designed for. What most flyers don't realize is that there's actually a built-in handhold hiding in plain sight. Along the underside of the overhead bins, engineers added narrow grooves that act as rails. Flight attendants use them all the time, gliding through the cabin with steady balance even when turbulence kicks in. For passengers, those grips are a safer and steadier option than yanking on someone's headrest. They're especially useful during boarding and deplaning. Instead of pushing past seats or stumbling with your bag, you can steady yourself by sliding a hand along that hidden rail. It's one of those little design touches that quietly makes life easier in the tight space of an aircraft cabin. So on your next flight, take a look above instead of clutching the seat in front of you. You'll spot the rail and know exactly what it's for. Add that to your running score, because the next seat trick involves armrests, and it could give you more space than you thought you had. Middle seats get a bad rap, cramped, boxed in, and usually the last to be chosen. But tucked away in the design of many aisle seats is a trick that can make things feel a whole lot better. The armrest isn't as fixed as it looks. Underneath the outer armrest, usually on aisle seats, there's a hidden button or latch. Press it and the armrest flips up, giving you extra room to slide out, stretch a little, or make boarding easier. Flight attendants often use this feature to help passengers with reduced mobility get in and out of their seats without struggling in the narrow aisle. For the rest of us, it's a small comfort hack. Ever had the armrest digging into your hip on a long flight? Release the latch, lift it out of the way, and suddenly, you've got space you didn't think you had. Just remember, some airlines lock them back down during takeoff and landing for safety, so it's not always available. It's one of those design touches that feels like a secret once you know about it. Spot the latch, try it for yourself, and you'll never look at the aisle seat the same way again. Coming up, we'll shift focus to the least popular spot on the plane, the middle seat, and reveal why it might not be as bad as you think. The middle seat usually feels like a punishment, squeezed between strangers with zero elbow room and no view. Only about 1 in 10 travelers willingly choose it. But here's the secret. Not all middle seats are created equal. Take Spirit Airlines, for example. In newer Airbus A320neo cabins, they've introduced the S1 seating. The middle seat is set slightly lower and pushed back 2 to 3 inches, giving passengers a bit more shoulder room compared to the aisle and window seats. It's not a luxury upgrade, but it makes the middle feel less claustrophobic than most people expect. There's also an unwritten rule in airline culture. The person stuck in the middle is entitled to both armrests. It's not an official airline policy. You won't find it in any rule book, but many seasoned travelers follow this etiquette out of fairness. After all, window seats get the view, aisle seats get easy access, so the middle deserves a little compensation. Of course, whether it's respected depends entirely on the people sitting next to you. So before you groan the next time you're assigned the middle, remember, it might surprise you. Add a point if you didn't know about the wider seats or the armrest etiquette. And stay tuned, we're going to peek behind the curtain, literally, at the secret crew rest compartments hidden on long-haul jets. On long-haul flights, you might look around and wonder, when the cabin crew disappears for a while, where do they actually go? They're not just hiding behind the curtain with snacks. The truth is, many wide-body jets have secret compartments built just for the crew to rest. On aircraft like the Boeing 777, 787, or Airbus A350, hidden stairways lead to small bunk areas tucked above the cabin or beneath the floor. They're out of sight for passengers, usually behind an unmarked door that looks like part of the wall. Inside, you'll find narrow beds, dim lighting, and just enough space for the crew to stretch out and recharge before coming back on duty. These compartments aren't luxury suites. They're practical, quiet spaces designed to keep the crew sharp during flights that can last 10 hours or more. Without them, fatigue would be a serious safety issue. Pilots have their own version too, often near the cockpit, where they can take turns resting on ultra-long routes. Many flyers never even realize these spaces exist, but knowing they're there explains how your flight attendants can stay energetic and smiling while you're dragging yourself off the plane after a red-eye. Another mystery solved, and the following one is even smaller, a pinhole in the airplane window that quietly protects both the glass and everyone inside. Look closely at any airplane window, and you'll spot a tiny opening at the bottom pane. At first glance, it seems like a flaw, but that little dot is there on purpose, and it's more important than you think. Airplane windows aren't made of a single layer. They're built with 3 panes working together. The outer layer holds the pressure difference between the cabin and the thin air outside. The inner one is mainly for protection from scratches. The middle pane, the one with the hole, acts as a pressure regulator. That pin-sized opening lets air flow into the gap, easing stress on the outer pane so it doesn't crack under pressure. It has another job too, keeping the view clear. By letting a bit of air circulate, the hole prevents fog or frost from forming between the panes. Without it, those dramatic clouds outside your window might be hidden behind a blurry layer of condensation. It's one of those details so small you could easily miss it, yet it quietly works on every single flight to keep both the glass and you safe. Mark down another discovery, because the next secret hides not in the structure of the plane, but in its lighting, designed to fight jet lag before you even land. Flying across time zones messes with your body's rhythm. You land wide awake at midnight or can't keep your eyes open at noon? That's jet lag in action. But on some modern jets, the cabin itself is working behind the scenes to help you adjust. Take the Airbus A350 or Boeing 787. Instead of basic fluorescent bulbs, they're fitted with advanced LED systems, capable of producing millions of shades of light. The crew can program these lights to mimic sunrise, daylight, or evening glow, depending on where you're headed. By gradually shifting the color and intensity, the cabin nudges your internal clock toward the new time zone. It's subtle. You might just think the lighting feels more comfortable, but the science is real. Exposure to the right kind of light helps regulate melatonin, the hormone that tells your body when it's time to sleep or wake up. That means fewer groggy mornings and less of that zombie walk when you arrive. So, count another point if this one caught you off guard. Next time you're on a long haul, take a moment to notice how the lighting changes. It's quietly helping your body fight jet lag. Have you ever stepped off a flight feeling like a zombie? Drop your experience in the comments. Ready for the next reveal? We're moving straight to the windows, where a high-tech system is replacing the old pull-down shade with something much smarter. On older planes, controlling the light was simple. Pull down the plastic shade and block the sun. But on newer jets like the Boeing 787 Dreamliner, that old-school flap is gone. In its place, a futuristic dimming system built right into the glass. Instead of yanking a shade, passengers press a button beneath the window. The pane itself gradually shifts from clear to deep blue, reducing glare without blocking the view. For the crew, there's even more control. They can adjust every window in the cabin from a central panel, keeping the light consistent for everyone. It's not just about comfort. By fine-tuning how much natural light enters the cabin, airlines can reduce eye strain, keep temperatures steadier, and help align your body clock with the destination, working hand in hand with the LED lighting we just covered. The effect is subtle but noticeable. You can still see the horizon outside, but with less squinting, fewer harsh rays, and a cabin that feels calmer overall. So here's a question. Do you prefer the old pull-down shade you can snap shut, or the sleek dimming glass that takes control out of your hands? Share your pick below. And for our final stop, we're leaving the passenger cabin behind to check out cargo doors so massive they can swallow an entire helicopter. Passenger planes keep things pretty contained. People, suitcases, food carts. But when it comes to cargo aircraft, the scale changes completely, and so do the doors. Some of the biggest jets in the world are fitted with hatches, so massive they make a garage door look like a toy. Take the Boeing 747 freighter. Instead of loading everything through side doors, the entire nose of the plane can swing upward. That design lets crews roll in shipments that are too wide or too long to fit any other way, anything from race cars to construction equipment. And then there's the legendary Antonov AN-225, the largest cargo aircraft ever built. Its hinged nose could open to reveal a cavern big enough to swallow train cars, helicopters, even wind turbine blades. Sadly, the original aircraft was destroyed in 2022, but plans to rebuild it are already in motion, a testament to just how unique its design was. It's a reminder that airplanes aren't just about moving people from A to B. They're the machines that keep global trade moving, delivering everything from emergency supplies to spacecraft parts. So the next time you spot a cargo jet on the tarmac, picture those doors opening wide. Inside, there could be almost anything. Proof that aviation design is as much about strength and scale as it is about safety and comfort. And that's our journey through 18 hidden airplane features. Proof that even the tiniest details can shape how secure and smooth your flight really feels. So, how many points did you rack up on your scorecard? Picked up 5 new tricks? That makes you the travel pro in your friend group. Crossed the 10 mark? You're practically an honorary flight attendant. Managed to nail all 18? Congrats, you've earned the title of Legend of the Skies. Even if you only picked up 1 or 2, you're already a smarter flyer than before. Next time you board, you'll notice details most people miss, and maybe share a few with the passenger sitting next to you. Now tell me in the comments, which feature surprised you the most? I'd love to know. And if you enjoyed this, hit the like button, share it with your favorite travel buddy, and subscribe so you don't miss more airline secrets and travel hacks. Until then, keep your seatbelt fastened, your curiosity switched on, and I'll see you on the next flight.